Hello, welcome to Tabletop CP, and today is the game preview for our game this Saturday, May 24th, 2025, and this week we're heading to the Eastern Front for our second game of Chain of Command 2. So we played one game already. Robert came over, and I think it went really well. We really love the changes. It's a smoother, faster game now, and it's just overall a better gaming experience with a lot more tactical flexibility in it, which is saying something because there was a lot of tactical flexibility in Chain of Command 1 as well. But a lot of the additions that Rich made, super cool, and we hardly approve of them. So this week Andre's coming over. We're going to be doing Soviets versus Germans, two new platoons, new German platoon, and the first time we're going to see the new Soviet platoon, which is quite different, as you'll see when we look at those forces. The mission we're going to be playing for this is the delaying action mission. So we'll do random sides, see who's attacker defender, see where the defender deployment zone is randomly. And in this one, the defender is going to set up their patrol markers in a 12 by 24 inch box in the center of the board, 24 inches from their board edge. And then the attacker is going to place their patrol markers on their edge. And at the end of the patrol phase, the attacker will place 3 jump off points. The defender will place 2 jump off points as normal, and then the third one has to go in that box, that 12 by 24 inch box. And that one's going to be the objective for the game. So objectives now in Chain of Command 2 are more important. They were always important, but let's be honest, they were easy to ignore in Chain of Command 1. But some mechanics have been introduced to try to alleviate some of that and force the attacker to actually get to the objective instead of just trying to blast the enemy off the board. And two of those, or both of them, are the ticking clock and the final countdown, which are both in this mission. So we'll probably be seeing one of those for sure during this game. So once the patrol phase is done, everything's done, put out jump off points. We're going to get D6 plus 8 support points for the attacker, half that for the defender, plus any force rating difference. The only restrictions are the defender may not select engineering support, and neither side can select mortars, which is fine, as we just used mortars for the first time last time we played this game. And then finally, the attacker is going to get 1 D3 Chain of Command points to start. And as if you watched our game or you've already read your own book, you know that Chain of Command points by themselves now can be used instead of just waiting for that full Chain of Command dice. So that just adds a whole another layer of possibilities to the game, and it's a nice upgrade. So, yeah, that's it for the mission. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 2 platoons we'll be using this week. We'll start out with the Soviets. So of all the platoons in the book that have changed since from version 1 to version 2, and they've all, well, I don't know if all, but most of them have changed slightly. The Soviet rifle platoon is totally different than it used to be. Version 1, I believe they were just single team squads, 3 of them, and I think they just had 1 senior leader. And that was it. They were very basic. Now they're a lot different. So first of all, their force rating is 0. They have 5 command dice. They're regular troops. There's a platoon headquarters. It's a lieutenant senior leader with PPS H-41 machine gun. And now there's an inferior senior leader with a submachine gun as well. And the inferior senior leader is just a leader. Senior leader activates on the 4, same command range, but he only has 2 commands. And the interesting thing is that in the platoon headquarters, there's now a sniper team. So the base Soviet platoon comes with its own sniper team now, which is that's pretty different. Moving on to the regular platoon, we're going to have 3 sections. So there's two of the sections are called light sections, commanded by a junior leader with submachine gun, and it's going to be comprised of an LMG team with 3 crewmen and a 6-man rifle team. And the third and final section in this platoon is the heavy section, commanded by a junior leader with SMG, and it's going to consist of 2 LMG teams with 4 crew each. So we have a dedicated dual machine gun section and then 2 light sections. So that's different. The Soviets aren't used to operating in teams. But wait, there's some new Soviet national characteristics. First one right off the bat is stay close, which pretty much says dual team Soviet sections cannot operate independently. They have to stay within 4. So yeah, they could probably still shoot at different targets from the commands, but they can't move off and do different things like other nations with 2 teams, and it can. Let's see here. I'll just quickly go through some more of these Soviet national characteristics. They have a scout special rule. I don't want to try to... Well, okay, I'll try it. Razvedchiki. It's basically scout special rule. The scouts can move with 2d6 and assume a tactical stance at the end of their movement. And the coolest thing is they can act as a jump-off point. So they can, if they're in or behind cover, they can act as a jump-off point for the rest of their own section with 2 chain of command points. And remember, one of the new rules is that with 1 chain of command point, you can activate a scout squad. So I think scout squads in version 2 are going to be a lot more useful. We already know they are. They have a lot more rules. They have a lot more capabilities. I think the Americans have the same thing where they can act as a jump-off point. And furthermore, I think if you bring the actual scout squad instead of using a team, they can act as a jump-off point for more stuff. So the scout teams, if you deploy them by themselves, they get to cover. You can use a chain of command points to bring in the rest of their squad on them, which is neat. And then there's another one, which I will again butcher, Tanko whatever, Ura. I can't even say it. But it allows Soviet tank riders to use armored vehicles that are unshocked armored vehicles as a jump-off point for a Soviet tank rider squad. So I can imagine the Soviets are going to be just popping up everywhere in my mind, just thinking about all these rules. We got tanks with tank riders, you got scouts. There's going to be little teams running around tanks and guys just coming out of nowhere. So that is pretty neat. And the last one is called Sons of the Soil, which allows, and this one's, I think, maybe my favorite new special rule of all of them. It allows the Soviet infantry to dig in during the game. So they can start the game dug in, which gives them soft cover, and a shell scrape it's called. When deploying, a Soviet infantry may use 4 chain of command points to be dug in shell scrapes. They provide soft cover. But if the unit's already deployed, they can use 3 chain of command points to dig in to shell scrapes, but may not take any other action in that phase. So they can spend their phase digging in. I think that's going to be super effective. Dig in, you go tactical, suddenly you're in hard cover right out in the open. So yeah, the Soviets, biggest upgrade I think in the book so far that I've seen just by reading the rules. We'll see how they play, but just looking at these rules, I think they're going to be pretty fun. So anyway, that's enough on the Soviets. Let's take a look at the Germans. So the Germans this week are going to be using the Panzer Grenadier platoon for the first time. A lot of people had opinions on the Panzer Grenadier platoon in the first version 1. They were overpowered, they were this and that, and they were really a tough nut to crack. They've been changed slightly in this one, but they're still going to be very potent. Last week we played the base German infantry platoon, which is very similar to all the other nations' platoons, machine gun team, rifle team. So it wasn't that much different. But the Panzer Grenadier platoon is a little different, so it's going to be force rating +2. It's going to be 5 command dice, but they come with the option to bring the red dice. So, in the old days, you had to bring 3 support units, and then you could buy the red dice. But now they just assign it in the platoon description. It just says if they have the red dice option, it's listed right there, and you can just buy it outright. So they can bring the red dice, which we know is very effective. So a smaller platoon, you got the platoon HQ, force rating +2. I don't know if I said that. They got just 1 senior leader. He's a lieutenant with a machine pistol. Then we have 3 identical sections. We have a junior leader armed with machine pistol. He's going to have 2 Panzerfausts. And then there's 2 teams, 2 LMG teams. There's an MG42 with 4 crew, and there's an MG42 with 3 crew, and 3 of those. And that's it. That's the whole Panzer Grenadier platoon. There is the option to take this force as elite if you wanted to, which would bump their force rating up to +5. So we're going to see how these guys play. I'm figuring they're going to be very similar to the old Panzer Grenadier platoon. And they're just going to be regular. We're not going to run them as elite. Anyway, that's it for the Germans. The German special rules, we went over those in the last game. Machine Gewehr is the same. Handgranaten is the same. There's a new one called Pack Front. It allows the Soviet tank destroyer, German tank hunting vehicles like Stugs and Jagdpanzers and stuff like that to actually deploy from jump-off points, which is pretty neat. We haven't seen that before. Usually in chain of command, vehicles deploy from the road or from the entry point, but this will allow certain German vehicles to deploy from a jump-off point, which is pretty solid. And then there's one called Panzerknacker, where it basically gives the ability to make a anti-tank grenade on the fly without buying it. You can use all your grenades, tape them all together, make a compound charge that has a strike value of 4. So those are the 2 new German rules, and Machine Gewehr and Hand Granaten pretty much the same. Anyway, that's it for the Germans. We'll be playing again Saturday, May 24th, and we'll be starting a live stream at 11:30. So hope to see you guys there.